Discipline is largely about self-belief. The only difference between you and them is that they're consistent and they are going after the things that they want and not letting anything hold them back. Society has taught us that we are unworthy of the life that we want to live. We try to convince ourselves that the life that we're living is good enough for us. We feel a lot safer in our current reality than in our potential one. What's up, you guys? So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about discipline, why we struggle with it, how to improve our relationship with discipline. Just to give you a little bit of backstory, I used to be a very inconsistent, uncommitted person. I would blow off all of my plans, wake up at 10 a.m. I would attach to ideas of things that I wanted to do and then blow it off. I would make plans and then cancel. I was the type of person that had absolutely no routine. I was completely uncommitted to myself. And over the last year, I have done a 180 and changed my relationship with discipline. And I want to let you guys in on some of the things that I learned and some of the things that I did in order to reshape my relationship to discipline. Discipline can be many things, but it doesn't necessarily have to be what we see on social media. It can be our own version. And learning that completely changed my relationship with discipline and commitment and sticking to my own goals. I went through a period through the pandemic where I felt like there was no purpose to anything that I was doing. Like, there was no purpose to me getting up and working out. There was no purpose to me working on my creative passions. There was no need for me to meet up with friends. And honestly, it was because I was in a really dark place that stemmed from a lot of burnout and a lot of sadness because of the fact that I expected so much from myself. And when I would try to go after my goals, I was going after them with a feeling of shame. I was going after my goals while putting myself down in the process. One of the first reasons we struggle with discipline is because our relationship with discipline is messed up in the first place. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is self-love. And yet when I think of the word discipline, I think of hustling, grinding, working. And I just want to say right off the bat, you do not have to subscribe to this idea of discipline that we see online or even in your real life from your peers. Discipline does not have to be waking up at 5 a.m. Discipline is about the rules that you set for yourself to bring you closer to your dream reality. And once you shift your perspective from viewing discipline as a way to punish yourself or to shame yourself, then you can use discipline and structure to advocate for yourself. You decide what works for you. There is so much power in discipline. Discipline is freedom because it inspires you to do things out of love instead of shame. So for example, maybe one of your goals is to start eating healthier, and yet you've been trying to do it and it's not working out because you're going through periods where you try to cut out all food groups all at once and it's not working. When you shift your perspective and you're doing it from a place of self-love, you will be able to be a little bit more patient with yourself. You'll be able to realize that you have to do things slowly, you have to give yourself grace. You basically need to reframe the way that you look at implementing things in your life and really just ask yourself, am I doing this out of love or am I doing this out of ego? Am I doing this to satisfy the needs of other people, or am I doing this for myself? So as you choose what habits you want to start and stop, everything that you are trying to implement into your life has to have a reason in order for you to stick with it. And 9 times out of 10, that reason should be that it is getting you closer to the dream life that you want. It's getting you closer to the person that you know you're meant to be. Another reason that we struggle with discipline is because a lot of people are waking up to the fact that the institutions that are in America are designed against us. Capitalism encourages overconsumption and immediate satisfaction, which is why there's such a lack of discipline, because not only are we dealing with isolation and being overworked, this society values instant gratification, meaning that this is indoctrinated into our culture. So it's a little bit harder to be disciplined, and you can't blame yourself for it because ultimately you have to be intentional about doing the work to undo the conditioning of our society. Society has taught us that we are unworthy of the life that we want to live. So discipline is largely about self-belief and asking ourselves the questions of how can we create a life that we love? How can we create a life that aligns with the reality that we want to live in? How can we shift from thinking about the things that we don't want and move towards implementing the things that we do want? I think it's important to recognize that if you believe that you are incapable of the life that you want or achieving your goals, then that is exactly what will happen, because like attracts like. If you believe that you are incapable of sticking to your commitments, if you believe that you were an undisciplined person, that is exactly what will happen. I feel like another reason we struggle with discipline is because we try to convince ourselves that the reality that we live in is enough for us. And we trick ourselves out of trying in order to avoid the fear of failure. We have these moments where we are deeply uncomfortable with our lives. And in those moments, we do try to make change. But 9 times out of 10, we go right back to being okay with the life that we're living in. And while I do believe that you should have a level of self-acceptance, you also need to be real with yourself about why you're not living the life you want to live in the first place. Like, why are you not already there? And of course, some of it has to do with the system that we live in. However, the things that are more tangible, like financial freedom or getting the job that you want or reaching your physical goals or traveling more, those are things that we have control over to some extent. We just have to get really uncomfortable with how we're living. Because I know, like, for me, I would come home and sit on my couch and literally just like go to work, sit on the couch, eat dinner, and that would be like my entire day. I had to get uncomfortable with that reality, but it took work to do. We tried to convince ourselves that the life that we're living is good enough for us because we are afraid that we will fail. We are afraid that we are incapable of being disciplined, but all of that is just negative energy. And when you believe in yourself and when you allow yourself to get uncomfortable with your reality, you will start taking steps to move closer to the life that you want to live. Realize a lot of the time we struggle with being undisciplined is because we feel a lot safer in our current reality than in our potential one. But you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that you are worthy and capable of living the life that you want to live, and that the only thing holding you back in this moment right now is yourself. You have to be there for you. And one thing I realized that I needed to stop doing was breaking promises to myself. Because do I want to do that to my friends and my family? Do I want to make commitments to them and not show up? No, I don't want to be that type of person. So why would I be that person for myself? And on the flip side, when you do keep your commitments to yourself, when you uphold those promises, you build self-trust. You build confidence in yourself, which helps you to get closer to your dream reality. Another thing I want to quickly add is that sometimes we do go through seasons where we are meant to be in more of a flow state. We are meant to be resting. We are meant to just go with the flow and enjoy life as it comes. And in other seasons, it's time to become more disciplined, create structure in our lives so that we can sow seeds in order to build the life that we want to live. So how can we improve? What can we do to change our perspective about discipline and welcome it into our lives? Instead of being afraid of it, instead of being inconsistent, what can we do to improve our relationship with discipline? You need to shift your perspective with discipline and realize that it is a tool of freedom. It is a tool of self-love. It is a tool of self-care. Discipline creates stability and structure. And when I do have discipline, especially around the areas of time management, I am able to enjoy my free time. I am able to pour into my creative projects, and also asking myself with whatever I'm doing, am I doing this from love or am I doing this from ego? Because when you prioritize using discipline as a way of showing yourself love, you will subtract from your life the things that are not bringing you closer to your dream reality. I think another thing that is important is to become self-aware and to take some time to take inventory of the different areas in your life. It is really important to be alone and really just ask yourself, what is bringing me joy in my life? What do I need to build discipline around? I know for me, before I ask myself those questions, I need to turn off the noise. I have to turn off any content, YouTube, TikTok, even just watching TV shows, because I need to get clear about my inner voice. I have struggled with feeling confused about what the world is telling me versus what I actually genuinely want to do, because the voices of others can be so loud. That's why I prioritize alone time and silence. Journaling, I've said journaling so many times because it allows you to tap in to your inner knowing. So start taking inventory of your current habits. What is working for you? What isn't working for you? What are the areas in your life that you feel like you need more structure and discipline around? And remember, discipline is what you make it. It doesn't have to be waking up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, eating a plant-based diet. It can literally be whatever you think that discipline is for you, what applies to your life. And figure out what little adjustments you need to make in order to get closer to your goals, to get closer to the life that you want to live. By taking time to be alone truly with myself, I'm able to tap into my future self, which I don't even really like to say future self, because I think the only difference between you and your future self is the fact that your future self is taking the action. You are already the person that you want to be. The only difference between you and them is that they're consistent and they are going after the things that they want and not letting anything hold them back. All you have to do is get quiet and listen to yourself, and that's your future self. The person that you want to be already exists inside of you. And when you do get quiet, ask yourself, who do you want to be? What do they look like? What do they do? How do they talk? I've mentioned this before, but I do a character exercise where I break down the person that I am trying to align with in the smallest detail, because it helps me to get clear on exactly what am I trying to call in? What am I communicating to the universe that I'm trying to call in? I need to know who I am to the deepest parts of myself, so that way I can start showing up like that person. And use tools like creating a vision board to visualize. Use journal prompts. Get clear on who you are trying to align with and what kind of life do they live. And what you need to realize is that change doesn't happen overnight, nor do you really want it to. Like when we watch a movie, we watch the beginning, the middle, and the end. We don't just watch the beginning and the end, because the journey is where the satisfaction comes. Success without the journey doesn't feel as good. Realize that manifesting the life that you want to live, manifesting the person that you want to tap into, is a journey. And ultimately, becoming the best version of yourself isn't an end goal. It is an ever evolving process. And when you evolve one part of yourself, there's always a deeper layer to tap into. Healing isn't linear. Healing is layered. You're never going to be done becoming the best version of yourself. There's always going to be another step. There's always going to be another level. So the joy is in the process. The joy is in working towards your goals. So stop focusing on the outcome. The outcome doesn't matter without the journey. We think that when we start on our spiritual journey or we start on our healing journey, everything is just going to be perfect from that moment on. But allow yourself to be imperfect. Allow yourself to fail forward. Allow yourself to be messy. Because as long as you're staying consistent and checking in with yourself, you are making progress, even if it takes a setback to get there. Take small steps to get to your goals. The best things in life were not made in a day. The best ideas aren't fully developed in one day. They take a while. In this journey in becoming more disciplined, we have to repeatedly choose ourselves, choose every single day to take one step forward in achieving our goals in order to get us closer to the life that we want to live. Rome wasn't built in a day, and I think you can take that wisdom into your own life. In order to improve our relationship with discipline, we have to become actionable. Make a plan to align your current self with the version of yourself that lives your dream reality. And the way you do this is asking yourself, what do they do on a day-to-day basis? How do they talk? How do they dress? What are the types of projects that they're involved in? What type of people do they surround themselves with? Using these questions will guide you on what goals you need to make in order to start living your life as your most aligned self. Because remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the process of becoming. I break down my goals on a yearly basis to quarterly, to monthly, and then to weekly, and ultimately to daily. Daily isn't as specific, but I know what I need to be doing in order to be the most aligned version of myself. You need to get really specific on what your goals are, and not even just goals, but what are the ways of being. So I typically break down the areas of my life into sections: physical, spiritual, things I want to learn, things that I do on a day-to-day basis. To build my self-trust, I like to create a list of the reasons that I feel like I can't be consistent and disciplined in the first place. And what I'll do is write out the reasons, and then I'll look at my list reason by reason and ask myself, is this the truth, or is this something that I'm making up because of an insecurity? Is this the truth, or is this because of a past experience? And then I use this to reframe my mindset, because a lot of the times we create these imaginary situations in our head as a way of protecting ourselves or as a way of keeping us comfortable. It just takes looking at those reasons with intention for you to realize that a lot of it is just bullshit and a way that you're holding yourself back. I also make sure that I tell my dreams and the reality that I want to create for myself to my friends and family, because although you might have some haters, you will find somebody who is supportive of you, and that can help to keep you accountable. But also, I like to do it because once I tell somebody, I want to make sure I live up to it. I don't want to, oh, I'm doing this, and then the next week it's, yeah, never mind. Like, no, I want to be a woman of my word. I love sharing my dreams and goals with my friends and my partner, because it can be really, really motivating to hype each other up and share our wins, share the ways that we failed, and come up with ways that we can be better each week. I feel like it's also really important to know that motivation is created through being disciplined. Motivation is unreliable. So don't rely on motivation in order to start going after the life that you want to live. It's easier for you to pivot than for you to completely start. Realize that we create motivation for ourselves by being in action. And faith without work does not work. Like, you can sit here and you can envision the dream reality that you want to live, but if you're not being disciplined enough to stay consistent and actually go after it, it's not going to happen for you. But all of that is to say is that I want you to believe that you are capable of the life that you want to live. You are capable of achieving all of your goals. You are capable of becoming the person that you feel most called to be. Yeah, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. I hope you guys took something from it, and leave a comment sharing one area in your life where you were trying to instill more discipline. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.